I was adopted at birth. My biological mother had 2 kids from a prior relationship and had married my biological father and shortly thereafter discovered she was pregnant with twins. Already having 2 kids and being rather poor, they decided on adoption. My adopted mom couldn't have children due to ovarian cancer, and my adopted parents were over the moon with the idea of twins. They prepared and got ready for the both of us. The bio parents changed their minds at the last minute and only gave me up for adoption. I had heart issues and eventually was discovered to have cerebral palsy, while my twin, Carly, was healthy. I always knew I had a twin, and when I was 16 I went looking and found Carly. She didn't know about me, so I was a surprise to her. Our relationship is okay. It's not great because I have feelings about her parents, mostly that I hate them. I try my best to be polite though. I even suffer through hugs. I call them by their first names and it's very awkward in general. Fast forward to today. The younger of my half-sisters got married today, and due to restrictions, it was broadcasted via Zoom from the bio parents' house, and there was a reception via Zoom. I attended as much as one can during these times. I didn't really want to, but the half-sister begged. About an hour into the reception, bio dad was a bit drunk. Not very drunk, but tipsy. He says, "Well, I walked 2 of my girls down the aisle, when do I get to walk you down the aisle, Carly?" Carly says she doesn't believe in marriage, she has 2 kids, it isn't happening. He then says, "Well, I guess my last chance is Julia. You want to get married someday, right? So Julia, when am I walking you down the aisle?" Now, I'm already insecure at being single at 33, it's hard to date as a disabled bi girl sometimes, and I just had to watch my half-sister get married. I'll admit I wasn't feeling great already, and that question just wrecked something in me. I said, "I hope to get married someday, but if and when that happens, you won't be the one to walk me down the aisle, my dad will be." He said, "Of course, I will. I'm your father." I lost it a little. I admit. I said, "You're my sister's father. You and your wife gave me up. You're nothing more than a donor to me. The man who got up every time my heart monitor beeped, who sat with me through physical therapy and sleepless nights is my father, and if I get married, he'll walk me down the aisle." Bio dad hung up and everyone else on the call started crying or yelling and calling me an idiot. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You proceed to explain what you had to go through and why you're making this decision. They cry, yell, and call you an idiot. I'm sorry, what? Some people are so selfish they can't even see past their own idiot. None of them even tried to shut the father up, and none of them even cared about what you just said, so while I'm inclined to say the wedding was not the appropriate environment, I'm also inclined to say they don't even deserve that consideration anymore. Not the idiot. I honestly don't get why he would think he would walk you down the aisle. They gave you up for adoption. They are not your parents. The person who raised you and took care of you and loves you is the one that would walk you down the aisle. They are all being incredibly selfish. Honestly, if their behavior doesn't stop, you're going to have to do what's best for yourself, and that is cutting them off. And what kind of people literally split up twins like that? If they had money troubles, then they shouldn't have had more children and they should have given you both up to be raised together. I would say that you are not an idiot. Your adopted father seems to be more of a father than your bio father, so I would say that your father who stuck with you through cerebral palsy and took care of you. I don't think your bio father has the right to think he is more of a father than your adopted father because he and your bio mother chose to give you up for adoption, but your adopted parents chose to adopt you and take care of you. I have an apartment in a large house that was converted to 4 apartments. It has a cute balcony off the kitchen, it's decently large, and I spend a lot of time out there. Living in a city with a tight budget, it's been my dream to have an outdoor space of my own for a while. I've done a lot to make my balcony cozy, 2 outdoor sofas around a coffee table in the center, a little dining table with chairs in the corner that's also nice to work at. A tiny food prep minibar over a mini fridge. Cozy heat lamps and a bunch of jar candles. Hanging plants and succulents. A little outdoor bookshelf with closing glass doors to keep the books dry. It's by far the nicest part of my apartment. The rest of the apartment is a cute but very compact studio. A narrow little kitchen, a small bathroom, a hallway, and a small bedroom. No living room or dining room or anywhere indoors to entertain or just kick back and relax. So I spend a lot of time on the balcony. Even when it's cold or rainy out, the overhang keeps it dry, and the heat lamp warms it. My job and software lets us work remotely when we don't have meetings, so I work from my balcony most days. I also like to sit out there for meals and for when I'm having friends over. My apartment building has single-family homes on either side, and since I've been living there, both families told me that they don't like how long I spend out on the balcony. The first family's house is positioned in a way that I can see into the windows along the side and the back side of the house. Plus it looks over their back deck. I don't snoop or stare ever, but the dad of the family told me that he doesn't like me being out all the time and being able to look into their bedrooms. He said that his wife was complaining to him about changing in her bedroom and then realizing there had been people who might have seen. I said I wasn't looking, and I don't think my friends are the type to either. The second family's house is on the other side. I can see their backyard and small pool from the balcony. And the couple who lives there told me they were frustrated how they can't ever enjoy their pool in private because I'm always out there, often with friends. One time, they asked if I could keep people off my balcony for one day because they wanted a pool party without a bunch of strangers watching from above, and I said sure, I don't have any guests that day. I ended up sitting out and reading though, and they got mad at me. I guess there was a miscommunication and they didn't even want me outside. Am I the idiot for spending a lot of time on my balcony? I feel like I should be able to enjoy it, it's part of my apartment, but both of the homeowners on either side hate that I'm positioned to see into some windows and their backyards. Not the idiot. You have a right to use your balcony. Imagine if you told them you don't want them to use their yard BC it was violating your privacy while on your balcony. Nonsense, right? Also, there's no difference between you being on your balcony and PPL being able to see them from inside via windows. If they want more privacy, window treatments are a thing, and also don't live in a populated area if you don't want people to see you when you're outside. Don't let them ruin your balcony time for you. I lived in a small apartment where the balcony was my only outside space, so I understand how absolutely crucial for one's mental health it can be to spend time out there. No idiots here. It's your damn balcony, just be sensitive. The only real caveat I have is, if you agree to give them privacy for a day, that includes you. Probably the best idea is to just try to be tactful. If you've done your thing all week, and then on Saturday they sit out in the evening, maybe just go inside and watch some TV, let them have a bit of time without the nagging feeling that someone is hovering. After all, you enjoy your balcony all day every day, what does it hurt to spend a little time indoors to allow your neighbors to enjoy their properties too? Not the idiot, have these people never heard of curtains? They seem to think their rights extend into your personal space that you pay for. Your balcony is part of your apartment. You get to occupy it how you see fit. As long as you are not actively trying to peer into their space, then anything you happen to see is on them for failing to keep it out of public space. People have been cited for indecent exposure for making love or being naked in front of windows that are clearly visible from the street. If she's worried that someone saw her in her underwear, it's her fault for not closing her curtains. My ex-wife and I divorced almost 2 years ago and don't co-parent great, mostly just try to ignore one another unless necessary for us to interact. Not mature, I know, but my attempts to change that were not met kindly. We have 3 children together and the youngest, Evan, 8, has been struggling the most with a divorce. The past few months he's been having meltdowns when he doesn't get his way, if we go to a restaurant he likes but that one of his brothers picked, or if he is made to clean his room instead of playing video games. He would yell that we're all mean, he doesn't like us, and call his mom to come to get him. She does, and then an hour or so later he gets dropped back off. I've asked her to not come to get him, that it's my parenting time, and he has to learn that he can't run away whenever he doesn't get his way, but she basically told me to back off. So I picked the kids up Friday and told Evan that if he called his mom to come to get him, that he had to stay with her all weekend, and I would see him again the next day I had custody. I have him 2 days a week and 3 weekends a month. He got mad Saturday morning over multiple things and called his mom to come to get him. When she showed up, I reiterated the new rule to him and told her that if she took him she was keeping him all weekend. She basically blew me off and they left. A couple hours later when I was out with the other 2, she called to see where I was because Evan had cooled down and was ready to come back and she had things to do. I reminded her that I told both of them, if he left, that he was with her all weekend. She blew up my phone all day angry because she had plans and couldn't find a sitter. Evan called upset a couple times, but I held my ground. He called Sunday and was apologetic and asked if he could come to church with us, and I told him yes and kept him the rest of the day, and he was much better behaved. My ex says I am an idiot, which I'm used to, but then when I told my mom and sister, they also said I was too harsh and should have let him come back Saturday, and I find a different way to handle the behavior issues. I was feeling pretty proud of myself until I talked to them. Should I drop this new rule or just ignore their opinion? Not the idiot. Under the current circumstances, I believe you're doing your best and that this stance is probably the most reasonable, given the lack of co-parenting happening. I have to wonder what she'd do if you were to swoop in every time she tried to discipline him. It's extremely unreasonable for her to interfere with your reasonable rules in your separate home. Maybe attempting to have a discussion again with her, now that her actions have backfired on her, could prove more fruitful. Maybe the opposite, but it could be worth trying. I hope things get better for you all soon. Not the idiot. I don't know, maybe you should find a better way of communicating with the ex, but at the end of the day, the kids suffer most from a divorce. Try and have a bit more sympathy with your kid. I get you tried to find an effective punishment to counteract his behavior, but yeah, find another way. You said yourself he's exhibiting this crappy behavior over the past few months. Talk to him about what's been going on and what's up with him. Not the idiot, and ignore your mom and sister. If your wife had plans that day, she shouldn't have agreed to pick up your son. She did it just to spite you, and it backfired on her. As for your son, it sounds like he may have learned something. He apologized and was well behaved. I would keep the new rule, as it appears to be the only way you'll be able to teach him about consequences, since your ex seems to hate you too much to want to be a good parent to her kid. I, 28, and my fiancé, 28, have been together 9 years, since my sophomore year of college, engaged since October 2019. My future mother-in-law, 54, has 3 sons, of which my fiancé is the oldest. She is very much into being a matriarch and hates the idea of her little babies growing up and moving on with their lives. She cried for days when me and fiancé, then boyfriend, moved into an apartment together after graduating college and asked fiancé if I forced him to do it. I was never invited to my future in-law's home for Thanksgiving or Christmas because that was for family only. My fiancé threw down to have me invited in 2019 after we got engaged. I was excluded from photos because those were for family only and I was only a fiancé, not a wife. My future brother-in-law's girlfriend still gets the same treatment. Mother-in-law recently caught wind, from fiancé, of my plans to go wedding dress shopping with my mom, sister, and cousin. She assumed she was invited and called me to ask what day and time. I said, oh no, it will just be me, mom, sister, and cousin. She was clearly upset and asked why can't I come. I said, oh, it's for family only, I am sure you understand. She sputtered something about having to go and hung up. She later whined to fiancé about how I was being mean, excluding her from his experience since she has no daughters. Fiancé and his brother with a girlfriend thought it was hilarious, as did the girlfriend, and loved that I turned the tables on her in a way she can't protest against without being marked as a hypocrite. Fiancé's youngest brother thinks I'm being mean to her for no reason, and I should be considerate of the fact she has no daughters and let her share this experience. I don't want her there because I want to enjoy with the loved ones, and I frankly don't want to include someone in an experience like that who made a point of excluding me. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. First off, her treatment of you warrants identical treatment of you. In that regard, you are not the idiot. Not that mother-in-laws will see it that way. It's great that you have fiancé and brother-in-law's support in this. Good man. More importantly, you are a bride going dress shopping. You get to pick your party. Hands down. No questions asked, no explanations given. Not that mother-in-law will see it that way. This may be a chance to draw her closer, but you are in no way required to do so. Congratulations, and I hope your wedding is wonderful. Not the idiot, but if you're marrying him, now may be the time, if you can repair relationships, especially now that she knows what it feels like. If not for your own sake, then for your other future sister-in-law who's getting the same treatment. Well, it shouldn't be your job. It may not be a bad idea to bring it up during the next holiday. Hey, me and future sister-in-laws are going to be in the pictures this year. We feel like we need to be seen as part of the family now as we're getting engaged to your sons. It means a lot to us. If her excuse about never having daughters but wanting one was actually true, she wouldn't have excluded an actual future daughter-in-law and your brother-in-law's girlfriend. That's a load of bull. It sounds like your fiancé stands up for you though, which is good. But I can't imagine having that kind of woman as a future mother-in-law. Sounds like she wants to be the only woman to be able to love and take care of her sons. Which isn't healthy, obviously. Not the idiot. My sympathies for you and your brother-in-law's girlfriend. 15. I live at my 35 mom's half of the time and the other half is at my 39 dad's and my 26 stepmom's. My stepmom is decent, but she tries to act like she is my mom too much. Yesterday I was playing at 9 p.m. and stopped before anyone came into my room to complain. I wanted to chill for a bit on my phone. I listened to some music for an hour until my stepmom came in and started whining about me being up so late. I told her that it's only 10 p.m. and that I would have to get up at 9 a.m., so it's fine. She insisted and I had enough of it, so I just straight up told her that she wasn't my real mom and that she didn't have authority over me. That might have been a bit childish, but I was really annoyed. She didn't let up and called my dad, who was in the living room. He was really mad and told me to listen to what she says. I did what my dad told me to do, which was to brush my teeth and go to bed. The day he told me to listen to her because she partially owns the house and has authority over me and can tell me when to go to bed and do chores. You're the idiot. I know I'm going to get downvoted, but I don't much care. She knows she's not your mom, there is no reason to tell her. She's in a weird spot too. She inherited a kid and she's not too far from a kid herself. She is an adult, however, and you are not. You are in her house, she is not in yours. If your dad says you should do as she says and treat her like an authority figure, then that's what you should do. I'm sure you think you're a grown adult because you're 15, but you're not. Maybe have a talk with your dad about what kind of authority she has with you, but don't remind her of something she already knows. That's the idiotic way to approach this. You're the idiot. If you lived mainly with your mother and only see your father and stepmother a few times a year, yeah, fair enough that you don't see her as a parental figure. But you live with her half the time, and as she is an adult, so naturally she does have some parental influence over you, especially if it's a minor thing such as asking you to go to bed early. I have friends who have that sort of age difference with their siblings, and sometimes their siblings end up as their parental figure as well, telling my friends when to go to bed and all. It boils down to how the relationship is defined. In this case, it seems like your father did not lay down clearly the sort of role your stepmother is expected to play in your life, so it might be best to sit down and have a talk about it together. Not the idiot. Trying to make you sleep at 10 p.m. is absolutely insane, especially when you have to get up at 9 a.m. That's 11 hours of sleep, you'd be fine on 8. 11 is way too much. And you're not hurting her by being awake, she's just trying to exert her authority over you. She is also 26. She's probably closer to your age than she is to your father's. At 15, I had friends close to that age. There's no way I would have let one parent me. And even if she was older, she isn't your parent. Just because your father got a divorce doesn't mean he gets to pick and choose a new mother for you. You already have a mother, do you think you can bring this up with her and maybe start living with her more?